anniversary episode. Wow. It's been 1 year, one hell of a year here on the Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. I set out to start this podcast with the intention of really pulling back the curtain and sharing authentically and transparently what it's like to build and to scale a six-figure business, to drop a lot of gold and nuggets and things that help you and support you on building your business, while also letting you in behind the scenes in my life and what I was navigating and what I was navigating in my business and how I navigated it and what's been happening. And I didn't know that my year was going to be the year where I got separated, the year where I left my home, that really only, I believe, the first one, maybe 2 episodes of the Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast was ever recorded in my home, because this isn't just the anniversary of my podcast. It's also the anniversary of me ending one huge chapter of my life and beginning a new one. So this anniversary with this podcast, this 1-year anniversary, is so significant. And what you've experienced with me over the last year is tremendous growth, personally, tremendous growth in my business, while coming back to a place of finding true groundedness, peace, lightness, fulfillment, joy. And for the first time in my life, and this kind of started at the beginning of the year, my mind is quiet 90% of the time. I'm not in my head. I feel really good with where I'm heading. I feel incredible around how things are growing, the sustainable growth in my business. Even at times when there was a pause, I'm navigating it differently. I'm handling it differently. I had a huge start to the year, doing something in 19 days that took me so long to do in 2021 and 2022, which was to put 6 figures in revenue on the books for the business. And now I have a base and a jumping board since the beginning of the year that I never had, that really speaks to everything that I'm talking about in regards to scaling and being able to scale. And heck, it wasn't easy to get here. It wasn't easy to get here, and it wasn't comfortable. And I remember the first episode of this podcast, Bucket Loads of Courage. I was talking about how we have access to bucket loads of courage. And I showed you a photo of me when I left, just before I left Germany, in 2005, 2006. Crazy. That's a long time ago. Oh my goodness. And I was talking about how we have access to this courage, and I've continuously moved with this courage. I've continuously made decisions with it. And here I am living such a wildly different life, being in such a wildly different place in my business, including having a team. I have an online business manager. I have a social media manager. I have someone who's supporting me with engagement, community engagement, and lead generation. And I have support on my copy. And it's just been an incredible shift. I have a head office where I keep all my information. Things are so organized, processes are in place that allow me to have my team all over the world, me anywhere in the world, and everything runs pretty smoothly for the most part. Regular hiccups always there. I don't have all my shit together, and I don't want you to get that impression, but it is such a huge difference from where I was 12 months ago. And you've been on this journey with me. You've been listening. You've been here. You've had me talk about the tactical and the strategic side of building business, but you've also heard me talk about capacity, the importance of really honoring our nervous system as we're scaling. And I've continued to have this conversation, and I've been bringing people in to speak about this more too, because this was such a huge realization that I had since beginning this podcast and through my own experience through 2022, as I dismantled my life and my business and hit capacity and had a very taxed nervous system, to stalling my business growth, having to revamp most of my processes and what I was doing, simplifying, putting myself through this painful process, slowing down, allowing space, to then being able to do the things I said that I was going to do without the excuses. Remember the last episode, and then boom, starting this massive momentum now, and really having set myself up to have that multi six-figure year this year, which feels huge and scary at the same time. Because as much as I've grown and as much as things are working, there's always like so many more things that we come to realize. And for me, my life has become such a full, beautiful part of my day-to-day that I've prioritized a lot of that, and I've slowed down more. And interestingly enough, growth hasn't slowed down through that, but the growth has been more sustainable and consistent. And so I know I will get there at the end of the year, but I don't feel the rush and pressure anymore, which at the same time then has required me to be disciplined and to really not just have the strategies and the plans in place, but follow through and hold myself to it and be in integrity with it, and realize when I'm not. But ultimately, it's been this commitment to really making sure that anything I do in my business, any decisions I make, anything I launch, any programs I offer, anything that I do, ultimately all allows me to have a very, very balanced and relaxed nervous system, to be remaining in this peaceful place, to be remaining grounded and fulfilled, to really nurturing the life that I want and how I want to feel in my life, and making sure that I'm not compromising that through rushed decision making, through wanting bigger, bolder results every single month, and saying, hey, I'm going to be able to get those results, and here's the plan, and here's how I'm moving, and here's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it because it allows me to feel really good in my life, to feel really good in my business, to feel I'm in a very grounded, steady, supported, and safe place. So my nervous system feels really good, while also taking the actions that are really aligned and strategic and allow me to continue to scale. And that's been a really bit of a different approach again too, compared to what I was doing 12 months ago when I started this podcast. So it's been a wild journey. It's been filled with ups and downs. It's required tremendous amounts of courage and faith. And a beautiful thing that my mentor said to me the other week, she said, look where your faith has gotten you. Look where your faith has gotten you. And it was such a beautiful reminder of saying, wow, like, look where I'm at now. Look at what I am experiencing every day. Ultimately finding this path to Tulum, and now choosing to have Tulum be home base for me, while I continue to show up and nurture my community, and while I continue to show up for my business, and while I continue to show up for myself, and live this wildly different life than I lived 12 months ago when we started this journey together. It is, to me, almost unrecognizable, both my life and my business, and how I run my business, and how I run my business. And I really feel like it's been about embodying what I teach, being in integrity with my word, and loving myself through all of it. Loving myself through the fuck ups, loving myself through the messy, having the audacity and the courage and the boldness to share through my social media and here on this podcast authentically and transparently what was going on for me, because it's been a wild year. And so I have no idea what the next 12 months are going to bring for us on this podcast. In my life in Tulum, I feel like more jungle vibes. I mean, you would have never seen me wear leopard print 12 months ago, or I had, or like even the fact that I wear a bikini half the time when I show up on my Instagram, because I don't really wear a lot of clothes these days. It's hot. So, things have changed and things look differently, but they are beautiful in their own right. And I'm so excited how this beauty is going to continue, and how living intentionally and creating my business intentionally and scaling intentionally is going to unfold, and what I'm going to be learning and what I get to teach along the way to you. And with that being said, I would love your support. I would love your help to not just share this podcast, but to let me know what's something that's really been resonating with you that I've been speaking about. What's something you would love for me to talk more about? What are some maybe business related things, strategic things you want me to dive into? Are there specific guests you would love for me to bring on this podcast, or topics you would like me to talk about? I would love to know. Community has become such an integral part of everything that I do. I have found a community here in Tulum. I really feel like I'm a part of something, and it feels really beautiful. And so I want you, my online community, the community that's listening to my podcast, to be a part of co-creating this podcast, a part of co-creating the content with me. And in some ways, yes, it's already happening, because I read your beautiful comments on my social media. I pay attention to what's going on for me and my clients, and I bring it back to you. But I would love for you, if you would take a moment, if you love this podcast, if my message resonates, if you're really feeling like we have this connection, whether we've met or not, to hop into my DMs, send me a message at Theresa Lambert Coaching on my Instagram, and let me know, what would you like me to talk about? What really resonated with you? What would you like me to bring back? What are you maybe struggling with in your business, and you're wondering if I have some insights for you? I would love to know. This isn't just about me, this podcast. Actually, it never really was. It's really about you and me simply sharing what's going on, so you can see for yourself what's possible for you, so you can remember what's possible for you, so you can get the inspirations that you may be requiring in that moment to just help you over that starting hump and implement something that would be really good for you. Like, this podcast is really here to activate you, to encourage you, to support you, to help you, to move you, to allow you to scale and ultimately become a six-figure coach, six-figure business owner. This is what I am here for. And this is what makes me the happiest. And I've had some incredible milestones in the last 12 months, and so have my clients. And that's been the greatest joy for me. So I love creating for you, with you. I love being on this journey together, because we're all, as far as I'm concerned, in this together. We're all sitting at the same table. And the more we have conversations, the more we collaborate, the more we chat about what it is that we want to create, and how we can maybe receive information from someone that we resonate with, the more progress we can all make, and the more elevating the experience will be for all of us while we're building our business and doing this thing we call life. So with this being said, I've got a candle. I'm going to finish this episode by making a wish, setting a new intention for the next 12 months, for the Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. What a wild ride it's been. who knows where we'll be in 12 months from now. But for now, it's been such a blessing, such a joy. And I'm so grateful for every single one of you listening. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being in my world and my life, for your support. It means more to me than you could ever imagine. And yeah, here is to another 12 months of the Diaries of a Six-Figure podcast together. Always feels good to blow out a candle and make a wish. I love you all, and I will chat with you next week on the pod.